This video is brought to you via Drug Mounting. Lord Windgrace versus Purphoros Bronze-Blooded, Yasharn Implacable Earth, and Child of Alara. That's a 2-lander for us with a Lotus Cobra and a Green Sun Zenith, so yeah, I think that's pretty good. We can deal with some early fast mana with the Vandal Blast as well. Just lands in the opening game for our opponents. We will follow suit with a tap land as well. Then the first spell is Azorius Signet from Child of Alara, a Farseek from Yasharn, and a Smoke from the Purphoros player. Players can't untap more than one creature during their untap steps. And we get into a rock as well, so we'll make use of that and play out the Arcane Signet. And then a Nissa's Pilgrimage from the Child of Alara. You can only use that to go for basic forests, so not fixing their colours there. And the first commander of the game, Yasharn, coming into play. And Purphoros playing a Scorched Ruins, which means they have to sacrifice a couple of untapped lands, but it does tap for 4 colourless. And just holding back at that, no Thran Dynamo or anything. Okay, Skyshroud Claim would be good if we'd gotten into a land before now. So let's just go for Lotus Cobra and continue to keep our fingers crossed. I'm going to go for the Vandal Blast onto the Signet as well, just so that the Child of Alara is missing 2 colours. Yeah, the Child got a lot better since the rules changed. Commanders actually die now, so you don't have to play around with Child of Alara going into the bin. You can just send it straight back to the command zone and it'll wipe everything. So the longer we can keep that out of play, the better. Alright, Child of Alara just passing over to the Celestia player and its Voice of Resurgence over there. And then a Dranith Magistrate as well, so probably a Hate Bears deck. Yasharn tends to be built as like a stacks type deck. So maybe Hate Bears and stacks and prison effects, things like that. Anyway, they turn in sideways over there towards the mono-red player. And the mono-red player plays a Prismatic Lens, which they'll be able to make red mana with. And they play a mountain as well, going for Wheel of Fortune. If we're not going to get into a land, then I actually don't mind Wheel of Fortune here. It's a shame to lose the Skyshroud Claim, but yeah, some good stuff being discarded there. Storm Cauldron, Pain's Reward, Wild Evocation. Oh, Omen Machine as well. Yeah, Shared Fate. Over here, Austere Commander, Arms Collector, and Archangel of Thune get discarded. And then Etali, a Mountain, Endless Sands, and a Fling as well. Surprised they discarded the Etali, but I suppose the rest of their hand wasn't particularly good. We get into the lands we needed though, so you won't find me complaining. We've also got Azusa, so yeah, our opponent might regret that wheel. We make a mana when the Prismatic Vista comes in, and then we'll go for Azusa. Now we're going to have to deal with Yasharn because we do have fetches that we want to crack. Luckily we've got Song of the Dryads, and we can make mana with the Lotus Cobra. So let's throw down the Blood Crypt, we'll just shock that in. And then play the Bloodstained Maya as well, which gives us 2 mana. We can tap down our shock, and we'll get Song of the Dryads on that commander. So now we can go for Prismatic Vista, and crack the Bloodstained Maya as well. And that allows us to go in for Nissa Vital Force. And we'll untap a forest, so it's likely that we'll be able to get the emblem off with her next turn. We've got a mono-red player at the table, so there might be some burn in there, but I wouldn't have thought so in a Purphoros deck. Unless it's tied to a creature, of course. Alright, a third colour coming in for the Child of Alara. That is Naked Singularity. Cumulative upkeep of 3. If tapped for mana, plains produce red, islands produce green, swamps produce white, mountains blue, and forests produce black. So screwing up everyone's colours basically. Looks as though this is some kind of chaos deck from the Child of Alara. So basically we now produce white, blue and black, so we can still cast black spells at least. We've also got the Arcane Signet and the fetches that we can play with the Crucible of Worlds, so we can make the coloured mana we need with Lotus Cobra as well. So I'm not too worried about Naked Singularity. Although Purphoros is apparently, so just deciding to quit there. And that's a shame. Yasharn deciding to quit as well. Apologies. This is a recording from the Christmas stint where I just had to get a load of recordings in before I give myself a break. So apologies yet again. Having to rely on Magic Online randoms. We get the Nissa emblem at least. So I quite fancy our odds here. Let's go for the Crucible of Worlds first of all. And we'll refill our hand here because we can play 3 lands and we'll get landfall 6 times in total. Drawing into a Wasteland. Cracking that gets us into a Mountain and an Obnixilis. I say we just play the Obnixilis here and start trying to drain out our opponent. Get another fetch into play. And every time we make landfall, we'll drain our opponent for 3. Or we'll just have them lose 3 life actually, we don't gain anything. We will end up making a big demon though. And speaking of gaining life, there is a Courser of Kruphix. Let's crack the fetch again. Okay, getting into a Cultivate for even more landfall. So we just play a fetch again from the bin, that'll be the last one for this turn. And the last fetch being cracked for this turn as well. Taking our opponent down a nice chunk with that Obnixilis, they'll need to get a blocker in the way of that. We've drawn into Prismatic Omen, which might be of use to us depending on what we draw. So let's play the Courser of Kruphix. We'll gain a little bit of life and we can start looking at what's on top of our library. I think... yeah, we could make use of Rampaging Baloths. I think I'd rather just get the landfall here. So let's shuffle that away for now. Okay, going to draw into a Toxic Deluge off the top. And there's an Exploration, that'll be good. So, yeah, assuming the board state stays like this, we should be looking okay. Let's drop the Prismatic Omen. And then we'll just swing in here and see if our opponent's got anything for us. Deciding to bin the Naked Singularity, so the 2 opponents that scooped to that ought to have not scooped to it because they might not have kept it in play, even if the other 2 players did stay around. Anyway, gate to the Ether. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player reveals the top card of their library. If it's an artifact, creature, enchantment or land, that player puts it onto the battlefield. Well, we know what we're getting. It's not incredible, but it's card advantage. So we'll get the Exploration into play for free. And that allows us to draw into Demonic Tutor, alright, so that actually did make a difference, that card. Okay, so we'll just go Demonic Tutor here. Yeah, we'll go Valakut. Oh, actually, apologies to my opponent, we could have just turned sideways there. Yeah, I didn't realise that all we had to do was turn sideways. I hadn't been keeping an eye on how big Obnixilis got, that is an 18-18. So no need for the Valakut and Tutor and all that. But every landfall that we would have made there would have been a Lightning Bolt from Valakut because they were every basic land type thanks to the Prismatic Omen. But like I said, all we had to do was turn in sideways there, so apologies to my opponent for durdling around there. And apologies to all of you for the early scooping, but that's how it goes sometimes. Hopefully you all enjoyed this brief visit to Lord Windgrace anyway. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.